Yeah, it's a really bad drawing or a really bad picture. It's a really bad picture, to be honest. I tried for another one, and they gave me the same one, so I just ran with it. Hi, Ross Lynch fan. How are you? Um, good, good. Good, good. I'm doing pretty good. Hoping tonight goes better than this morning. Because it's Christmas or almost Christmas, and I shouldn't have to deal with nitwits. Yeah, I had trolls. And it's not even that I had trolls. It's that I had dumb trolls. The best they could come up with is dinosaurs didn't exist, or they're not alive now, so they never existed. So I'm like, yeah, no, I don't have time. I did not have time to deal with brainless boobs. I gotta get me a different chair. Maybe church will throw out some of their padded chairs and I can get one of those. That's right. That's right. Not only that, but his own grandparents didn't exist because they're not here, which means that he doesn't exist. I'm like, yep, not dealing with it. And then he came back in as a different person. And I was done. I'm like, he had already been sent out once. And I proceeded to show him the door that I proceeded to lock my channel from him for all time. So, as D-Man, God bless you as well. I hope everything is good. Hi, Lauren. Long time no see. Hi, hey, Baragon. Tonight, we are discussing 4 different birds. We are going to be talking about Titanis, which is a terror bird. If you don't know what that is, it looks something akin to the bird that was in the thumbnail. Oh. Okay. So anyway, luckily for us, terror birds are now extinct. Because if I know one thing, it's that when a 5 to when a 5 to possibly 8 foot tall bird is out there chasing you, they probably are out to eat you. Now, most terror birds lived in South America. Titanis walleri, I hope I pronounced that right. I will put its name in the description, in the video. Pardon the fact that the genus name is capitalized. That is a mistake on my part. Normally a genus name, no, I'm sorry. Normally a species name is never capitalized. That is a mistake on my part. These birds stood somewhere around, sorry for the shakiness of the camera just then. These birds would have stood somewhere around 5 to 8 feet tall, and they would have weighed around 150 kilograms. Yeah, so they were a pretty good sized animal. They lived around 5 to 1.8 million years ago during the Pliocene and the Pliocene. They can be found within the Gulf Coast plain of the United States. We know for a fact that they were in Florida and Texas. They were first discovered in 1961 and 1962 from underwater sites by 2 young fossil collectors from out of the Santa Fe River in Florida. In fact, they are named after one of those young men. That is not the genus name, but the species name. Now, these birds would have come up into North America via the Isthmus of Panama, which also, just for the sake of discussion, is the same way that Similodon and the ground sloths entered North America or entered South America. Now, I think it was, well, shoot. I want to say that it was D-Man who told me that they have a living relative called, okay, Ross Lynch, I will talk to you later. That is a living relative to the Titanis, or to the terror birds. Not a very scary bird at all, trust me. Now, we believe that terror birds hunted by sight. It is believed that they didn't have a very well-developed sense of smell. Most birds, apart from a few select birds, really don't have an overall good sense of smell. Titanis would have been actively involved in predation. But chances are pretty good that if the opportunity to scavenge came up, that they probably would. Now, within their ecosystems, these birds pretty much matched most other animals for speed. It barks. I don't get it. Larger prey may have been ripped apart, or smaller prey would have been swallowed whole. It is believed, though again we don't know exactly, but based on other birds, it is believed they regurgitated pellets much like an owl. No doubt parents brought back food for their babies. It is said to have existed around 3 million years ago. Wolves and other mammalian predators may have forced this bird into extinction. Now, here is a scary thought. Had North America become an island at any point and cut off the ability for large mammals to reach North America, we very well may still have terror birds living amongst us. What do you think, D-Man? Hopefully, we wouldn't. Now, I don't have accounts of these birds feeding on humans. It's possible early man met them. I don't know. But kind of scary nonetheless. And yes, if you're wondering, terror birds did hunt horses. No. 7 to 8 feet is nothing. I mean, think of an elephant. An elephant's more than 7 feet tall. Rhinos are, I mean, they're not as tall as probably a terror bird, but yeah, they probably could not compete with the mammals. And they did say climate change. They made 7 to 8 inches, or 5 to 8 feet. And elephant birds technically might still be here, except that we hunted them out. So, the giant stork. Now, this is a bird that lived in Indonesia. They were first described to modern science in 2010. We believed at first that it did not fly, but now we believe they do. They would have competed with other large birds, vultures, and even Komodo dragons. It's now sort of interesting. Homo florescens was a sort of hobbit-sized humanoid that lived in the area where these birds lived. They hunted, and it's believed that these storks fed on their kills. They would have resembled marabou storks from Africa. So if you know what those look like, you pretty much know what these birds look like. They would feed on carcasses and nested in the top of trees. These birds may have fed from the kills of Komodo dragons, may have ended up the prey of Komodo dragons. We do know that around the time that Homo sapiens entered Indonesia, these birds mysteriously went extinct. It is not known no, pterodactyls were reptiles. They would have been extinct much longer before this. So there's no evidence that these birds fed on or really interacted with early hominins. The moa is extinct. These birds would have stood around 6 feet tall or 1.8 meters, and it would have weighed somewhere around 35 pounds or 16 kilograms. They may have fed on fish, lizards, and birds, and there isn't proof of this, okay? But one of the websites that I was using for research would not rule out if these guys were feeding on the young of Homo florensis. Likewise, there isn't proof that Homo florensis fed on them. There, that is said. Our next bird are the T-E-R-O-R-T-E-R. You know what? I'm going to do it this way. Again, I'm sorry for the mistake, but I will deal with it later. It is not scientifically correct. This bird was big. They had a wingspan of around 12. I'm sorry. They had a wingspan of 11 to 12 feet. When roosting in trees or on the ground, they stood over 2.5 feet and weighed 33 pounds. No, these were a bird of prey. It was 1/3 larger than today's condors, and they filled the same niche that the condors of today fill. So they were scavengers. They lived 25 million years ago. Their fossils have been found in California, Oregon, Nevada, Arizona, Florida, as well as South California. They were, of course, carnivores, feeding on large mammal carcasses, as well as smaller vertebrates. And they were extinct by about 10,000 years ago. The condor... Hi, TCM Cole. Condors have about the same wingspan, so about 10 to 12 feet. Yeah. Now, there is another bird that we're going to talk about. And this is a different bird. This is the giant teratorn. This may have been the largest flying bird to have ever existed. Some sources claim that its wingspan may have been 7 meters long or 22.9 feet in length. But it looks like the average size was a little bit smaller, around 5.5 to 6.5 meters, which puts them topping off around 21 feet in wingspan. Yeah, I didn't want to have a really short live. These guys, much like a condor, well, they could potentially reach 22.9 feet in length, but we'll go with the 21 feet. They would have relied on wind currents to keep themselves aloft. And they probably used those same currents to get themselves off the ground. They would have maybe ran and jumped. They might have lived on mountains. Potentially. I will have to look that one up, D-Man. We do not believe that this was an active hunter. Based on size, they would have spent a lot of energy in doing so. So probably they were scavengers, much like a condor. They did share South America with terror birds. Based on their size, it's doubtful that they had land. Because of their size, it's doubtful that they had any predators that were in the air. Definitely they would have had maybe landborne predators, but even that is somewhat doubtful because potentially they could take off. So hard to know exactly when these birds or what these birds were doing, but they are huge. Really, really cool birds. It is going to be a while before we jump back into the long ago theme. In fact, I'm not even sure exactly. I could look. I really could. Nice. California has some neat areas. Kentucky too. So our next long ago is going to give us Allosaurus and Brachiosaurus and Dimorphodon. I have not picked company for it, but I love doing the long agos. I think they're fun. And it's actually going to be a while before we see them again. We do have Ichthyosaur and Postosuchus in April. I need to rename those because that is not the right name. And then in May, we're doing Plesiosaur, Paraceratherium, and short-faced bear in May. And then in June, we're going to do Emmons walrus and Florida dugong, along with the North American false gharial and Apachesaurus. Yeah, that's why I wanted to do it. That's what drew me to the Paraceratherium, to be honest. Oh my gosh. And that is where we are. D-Man, I don't know. I would have to look that up, but that's possible. That is possible, D-Man. I'm not exactly sure on the genus, but that's possible. Ooh, Ohio River. I know some cryptids that are down in there. I have not been. I don't know if my dad has been or not, but I have not been. I heard it's really cool, though. Lots of Native American history. Modern history. Definitely. They should be home by now. I would like to see the Grand Canyon, but if I had to pick and choose, D-Man, it would be... There are other places I'd like to see before the Grand Canyon. I'd like to visit the La Brea Tar Pits. I'd like to see, what is it, Crater Lake? Maybe the Swanee River. The Everglades National Park. New video coming out tomorrow morning. I was gonna post it for tonight, but I'm like, no, We'll do it tomorrow morning on Piranha. I would go, if I was gonna do the Everglades, I would do it during the winter. I don't think I'd want to do the Everglades in the summer. No offense. Oh, I'm stuck. Ooh, I also want to do the Smokies. Just because it's in Appalachia. Yeah. Yeah, but I've been to Lake Michigan. I've been on Lake Michigan. Oh no, we have beaches. Granted, they're not oceanic beaches, but no, we have beaches. I got a Christmas card today. And at the top of the card, it says Christmas 2021. I was like, that's really weird. Oh no, no, I wouldn't do spring break. Because that's crazy. Yeah, but that's pretty cool to see though. Carry me through. Because we do sometimes get to see the Northern Lights. Quite a bit actually this year. Yeah, you know, it's funny. A lot of people, a lot of people think Florida, the only thing to see in Florida is Disneyland. The only reason I would go to Disney, no, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. The only reason I would go to Disney World, animal, the animal kingdom. The only reason I would go is to see Animal Kingdom. Yeah, that's to be expected, D-Man. It's still Disney. I hear they're getting ready to open up a South American section. My brother marched in Disney at Disney World. But to me, the real thing is the wildlife. Like, I would much rather see a manatee. I'd even be excited to see an eastern diamondback, to be honest. Come to think of it, I don't know if I've seen a western diamondback. Maybe I have. I had a friend that lived a block away, a street away from the ocean, from the beach. But he would call my house during the winter and tell me that what he was seeing from his front door, dolphins. And the only dolphins that I want to see are wild dolphins, because I could go into Chicago and see dolphins and porpoises and beluga, but I don't want to see dolphins in captivity. Excuse me. They are very smart. That's the problem. Yep, pretty much. They can be devilish. Like, they're not always saints that everybody thinks they are. Oh, I bet. Hi, Fishy Gaming 14. Next video. Oh, my back. No, the next video is going a different route. So we did catfish as a group, piranha as a group. Our next videos are going to be blue bottlefly, common phlox, mantises as a group, hermaphroditism, hooded vulture. That's the next 5. Yeah. And then I hate when I do that. And then we have humpback whale, endangered species, scallop, a history of food, grizzly bear, deserts, which I think we did already, the difference between wallabies and kangaroos. I'm going to mess up this name, so I'm going to copy and paste it. And then black caiman. So that's the next, what is it? The next the next 12 days. That one I think we've covered, at least on the other channel, I think. And then the video that you asked about, if I can find it. Where? Here, this is what I'm looking for. Um. Ooh, that sounds like fun. I hope you don't meet any skunk apes. I'm sorry, I had to throw that out. No, don't run into any snakes. So, a week and a half, D-Man. Spotted sucker will be right after the black caiman. Actually, there's a lot of aquatic wildlife in that week. Spotted sucker, mosquito fish. I'm pretty sure Tomai stoma. The Florida apple snail, and Mamadama, which means something really vile. And then we have a break for a week, almost. And then we have more aquatic stuff. Eastern mosquito fish, you want to be exact? That's okay. Wait, why didn't it? Okay, I got it. No. We'll do the Eastern. Oh my gosh. I have learned something. Very, very important. I cannot skip Sunday. Skipping my stuff on Sunday puts me 2 days behind. And Saturday's going to be hellish. I have to. I have no choice. Because I didn't do anything Sunday. And it put me 2 days behind. I found them. You're fine, D-Man. He's the most unique cryptid that I own. Also, perhaps the most demonic looking one. Just saying. By the way, new story is up on the main channel. Or on the spooky channel. And I am writing 100%. I think Bigfoot's a happy cryptid. I don't know. Are leprechauns considered cryptids? I have no idea, D-Man. Yeah, I think that would be the only way they could do it. Why? I mean, I get it. Teens should be in before a certain time, but is it teens or is it adults? That would be my question. There's a lot of places that seem backwards to me. Sometimes Chicago seems backwards. I need to look at my schedule. Well, they tend to like smash and grab. There is Lake Station follows the Indiana State juvenile curfew laws. 15 to 17-year-olds cannot be out between 1 to 5 a.m. on the weekends or after 11 p.m. on weeknights. Those under 15 are restricted from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. daily, with exceptions for work, school, or supervised activities. I don't know what Chicago's are. It's about the only thing that I didn't do today is I'm supposed to download pictures for the upcoming videos. But since I don't have the scripts typed up, it's hard to do videos for them. In other news, my Wednesday meeting at 6:30 has ended. It will now be Sundays. Yep. Except for the achievement day thing. I just like to be in before 3. My nephew was complaining about, one of my nephews was complaining about how dark some of the streets are in the area. So I had to show him how dark it was where my dad grew up. Yeah, he quieted down after that. But then he got revenge on me. I can honestly say the only thing that I've seen in the early morning hours in my neighborhood are deer. That's what I'm talking about. My dad grew up in the country. He was raised having snapping turtle soup. Never heard of pickled beans. But I guess, whatever. Yeah, I don't know how they did their trash. I don't know. There's places where my dad grew up that the closest neighbor is a mile away. In some cases, not so much now, but back then. Eh, biscuits and gravy, I could pass. That's true. Somehow the idea of an HOA just makes me want to bleh. Although shooting ranges, that could be argued. I'm not going to have somebody telling me what I can and cannot have in my yard. Anyway, guys, I'm going to let you go. It has been a blast. I will see you guys Friday, I think. Friday or Thursday, whichever comes first. I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Be good, everybody. Be warm and be safe. Bye-bye.